Your nearby CarQuest Auto Parts store isn't owned by some big corporation. It's owned by one of your neighbors who really cares about you. As trained, CarQuest qualified counter pros, we're here to make sure you get the right part at the right price. Even the right advice. There's over 2,000 stores like this one across the country with a whole world of parts backed up by the CarQuest coast-to-coast guarantee. CarQuest, America's auto parts giant, because real value and friendly professional help make CarQuest the right place to buy auto parts.
Even though you faithfully pay your premiums, why do some insurance companies make you feel so guilty?
I had an accident.
You have an estimate, 2 estimates, 3 estimates.
And a note from your mother.
My mother?
Leave it to the good hands, people.
In most cases, Allstate will give you a settlement on the spot without 3 estimates or a note from your mother.
How do we know it's her writing?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Coming up on Speedweek, one of this year's new winners triumphs again.
Not only a new star, but maybe a world champ.
And the kids of IMSA come of age.
This and more next on Speedweek.
Speedweek is brought to you by B.F. Goodrich TA Radials, built for you to take on the road. And by Dodge, a performance revolution, an American revolution.
Since we talked with you last, autumn arrived in the U.S. and several major auto races were held. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Speedweek. I'm Larry Newber.
And I'm Bob Jenkins. One of those events held in Martinsville, Virginia Speedway. That's where we begin this week's Speedweek.
That Winston Cup race was a microcosm of the season so far. Mark Allen has details.
After stubbing their toes last week in Dover, the top 3 Winston Cup challengers topped 3 of the top 4 starting spots. But in many ways, their gremlins came along to Martinsville. 51 laps in, number 2 points contender Tim Richmond flirted with the wall after a flat tire and never challenged again, finishing 10th. Points leader and defending race champ Dale Earnhardt's problems began with his pirouette. He then made several stops behind the wall to seal a leaking rear end. Earnhardt finished 12th. The third man in the points chase, Darrell Waltrip, needed some minor surgery to unblock his oil cooler. This and a flat tire pushed him 1 lap off the pace to end up 4th. An unusual Martinsville race in the sense that only 4 cars retired, though 12 cautions were waived, most for souvenirs left by the warriors of this 500-lap combat. The casualty of the day was during the battle for 5th. Kyle Petty had it, Ricky Rudd wanted it, and was sidelined the hard way just past mid-race. The class of the field, much of the final 200 laps, was pole sitter Jeff Bodine, who steadily pulled away from rival Rusty Wallace. But when Richmond parked on a curb with 24 laps to go, the winner was determined by the fastest pit stop between Bodine, Wallace, and third place Harry Gant. As Wallace screamed past the helpless number 5 Chevy, Bodine's crew knew their fate was sealed. Though just 2 car lengths apart in the final sprint, Wallace hugged the low groove, leaving Bodine no place to run but second. Gant never more than a frustrated spectator behind the lead duel. For Wallace and Company, career win number 2, both coming this year on 2 of the circuit's most demanding short tracks. This is Mark Allen reporting.
The next Winston Cup race live here on ESPN this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from just down the road in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Cale Yarborough has announced he'll campaign Oldsmobiles on the Winston Cup Trail next year. Now, he changed from Chevy to Ford in 1984 and has only won twice with a Ford.
Also at Martinsville the day before Winston Cup, NASCAR's Grand National Division. It was destined to be a Tommy Houston race. He and Brett Bodine started up front. Davey Allison's crash early in the race sidelined him and was one of several yellows. Larry Pearson also looped in the 4th turn but stayed on the lead lap and fought his way back up to race with the leaders. Charlie Luck, who we hear is retiring after this season, caused a caution, and so did Morgan Shepherd while racing with L.D. Ottinger, Pearson, and Bodine. Pearson beat L.D. to the flag for 2nd place. Bodine and Jarrett rounded out the first 5. It was Houston's 4th win this season in his Buick V6, but first here at Martinsville.
Jack Ingram's indefinite suspension from that division has been changed to a 15-day suspension, ending September 29th. But the $5,000 fine stands. In addition, Ingram will be on probation for the rest of this season. All of this is a result of an incident that occurred at New Asheville, North Carolina Speedway on the 14th of September.
Other stock car racing was near Indianapolis. Both divisions of ASA. Dick Trickle won the Saturday night Grand Mark race, then ASA's regular division Sunday afternoon. Fastest qualifier Butch Miller chose outside front row position and left the inside spot to Dick Trickle, ASA points leader. First yellow, Rich Vogler, his first time in a stock car, 9th fastest qualifier, and despite this spin, a 10th place finish. Miller led the first 34 circuits, although challenged occasionally by Mike Eddy. Butch is forced to the infield and attempt to miss Richie Winstead's accident in turn 3. But it takes only a pit stop for a tire change, and Miller is ready to resume the charge. Trickle and Mark Martin are left in Miller's wake to decide the second spot. They'll finish in that order. Surprisingly, points leader Trickle hasn't won so far this season. Eddy's solid run is ended with 24 laps to go with an oil leak. Butch led a little more than half of the 200 miles. This is his 5th win of 1986.
Next up, in Formula One, it's not over yet, but the end may have begun.
In kart, it's over before it begins, but it's rescheduled.
When you take on a road like this, you need all the braking, turning, handling, all the tire you can get. Now, you've got it. The Comp TA from BF Goodrich. The tire that won the U.S. Endurance Cup has actually been improved in the dry, in the wet. It's more tire than you'll ever need. But on roads like this, it's good to know you have it. The BF Goodrich Comp TA, built for you to take on the road.
Dodge races and Dodge wins, but winning ain't easy.
When the road is long and the going gets tough, less than your best is never enough. But the dream of winning lets you meet the test, because winners are dreamers who give it their best. And if winning was easy, why run the race? You'd be number one if you don't set the pace. At Dodge we know there's only one first place. If winning was easy, it wouldn't be a race.
36 wins, 3 manufacturers' championships, 3 drivers' championships, and 1 team title, all in 1 year. On the road or off, Dodge comes up winners.
And if winning was easy, why run the race? Can't be number one if you don't set the pace. At Dodge we know there's only one first place. If winning was easy, it wouldn't be a race.
Dodge Cars and Trucks, we set the pace.
Sunday, the most competitive day in auto racing history. NASCAR's best drivers are chasing the season title at the Holly Farms 400. And the IndyCar Championship is on the line at the Michigan 250. 2 great races starting live Sunday at 1 Eastern on ESPN.
Last time I suggested this year's World Championship might not be won by 1 driver, but lost by 3 others. Well, Sunday in Portugal, Nigel Mansell crushed that theory. Nigel didn't clinch, but should he win, last week will likely emerge as the season's crowning moment and the decisive race. That dash we've all been waiting for happened. The gang of 4 each finished. Mansell, Prost, Piquet, Senna, and the other 6 of F1's Big Ten played prominent roles, including 5th through 8th place finishes. Only Gerhard Berger and Keke Rosberg failed to race all 70 laps on the undulating course. Only problem was, Nigel didn't wait for anybody. Even his pit stop couldn't tug him from the lead. It was a smashing win. The Ferrari strong again. Stefan Johansson had a 5th until waltzing Matilda again with Berger. He zoomed back but finished 6th behind his teammate Alboreto. They handled 2nd like a hot potato. Piquet had a grasp until a solo spin, brakes suspected. Senna white-knuckled it until the well dried on the final lap. His 4th place eliminated him from the championship. Prost inherited 2nd, Piquet 3rd. Nigel leads by 10 points. For either Alain or Nelson to win, they need at least 2 seconds and 1 DNF from Mansell. Renault will not supply engines to Formula One teams next year. Now, that announcement came after Renault failed to reach agreement with the McLaren team, which will stay with Tag Porsche engines. Gerhard Berger still has the inside track to the 2nd Ferrari next year, and If he replaces Stefan Johansson, Johansson may go to McLaren.
Bobby Rahal won the pole for last weekend's Race for Life 200 IndyCar event at Road America and therefore has the points lead by a single marker. But the race itself was never run. Paul Page has the story.
As the engines were started, the day had the marks of a great battle. Bobby Rahal, the new points leader, sat on the pole. Third in points, Danny Sullivan alongside, and Al Unser Jr., second in the points fight, was ready to fly up through the pack. As the field roared toward a start, rain began to fall. Rahal jumped into the lead and was the only driver that could see the road ahead of him. Little Al spun off on the first lap and crashed. The red flag then came out. The IndyCar fans waited in the rain to hear the race rescheduled for Saturday, the 4th of October. The reschedule will give the Shearson team time to repair this wreck and get Al Unser Jr. back into the points fight. This is Paul Page reporting from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Drivers Bobby Rahal, Al Unser Jr., and Jeff Brabham will be busy the weekend of October 4th. In addition to the rescheduled Elkhart Lake IndyCar race on Saturday, all three are scheduled to compete in the Columbus, Ohio IMSA race on Sunday.
We'll have same-day delayed coverage of this weekend's IndyCar race from Michigan International Speedway at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Al Unser Jr. was released from the hospital Monday with no broken bones. He's been cleared to drive this weekend. Steve Chassie will sub for the injured Randy Lanier. Ed Pym and Dennis Firestone will return to action, having recuperated from their injuries.
Just where is Road America anyway? Well, it's real down-home America, just around the bend from Thielman's Market and down the road from Schwartz's. And nothing prettier than this land in the fall, and nothing prettier than second starter Mike Ross' first lap and then first road course win. Barbaza escapes just leading points. Ireland's Tommy Byrne shows third here. That's where he'll finish. There's Jeff Andretti's second-place finisher. Sammy Swindell, one of his better days, and Super V grad Gary Rubio graduating. Nick Finaro Jr., another shot here, pointing the way for Andretti. Ross Cheever, his best day in the Agapoo Bird, fourth, but just not points leader Fabrizio Barbaza's day. Whoops, almost. Here's only seventh. That's Billy Vogt trailing.
Well, it feels really good. We were eluded at the last road course race. We led for a while, and we had some mechanical problems. And I just hung in there, and, I was just glad to, I wanted to finish the thing. That was my main concern. And to finish on top, that just made it that much better.
Points, once a Fabrizio breeze, now a tempest. Jeff trails by only 3, Mike by 6, and Steve Millen, who didn't have a ride here, a remotely possible 4th.
Also at Elkhart Lake before the rain, Super B's Thomas Knapp beat Didier Tays, who started near the back of the pack after crashing the day before. The points leader going into this event was Scott Atchison. He wound up 10th. Tays is now the points leader by a single marker over Steve Brin. The first 4 in points are separated by only 6 points. And Barry Sitnick won the Pro Sports 2000 support race. It was shortened by 1 lap because of communication problems caused by the rain.
Coming up, it's a red letter day for BMW and IMSA's GTP.
And it's also GT over and under and around the Glen.
Outside, you hardly see any smoke, because inside, a Sweet Home wood stove burns cleanly, making it warm and snug while exceeding new air standards. Instead of heat energy going up the chimney and smoke, our catalytic combustor burns the smoke, so you get more heat with less wood and cleaner air. Advanced design Sweet Home stoves come in several styles, including the AK-18 and our new Alpine models. So come home to clean wood heat. Come home to a Sweet Home.
Yoder Stove's grand opening sale this weekend.
Some people really know how to live, and Fred's Travelrama knows how to treat you.
Attention RV owners, Fred's Travelrama announces a parking lot sale this weekend. Save hundreds of dollars on hundreds of new RVs. Hurry, this sale ends Sunday at 9 p.m.
Fred's Travelrama has always had the Northwest's largest RV selection, award-winning service, and a huge parts inventory. It's been the best place in Oregon for over 15 years to buy or service your RV. Fred's Travelrama. Come see us today.
Arrangements made through Eastern Airlines. Whether you're traveling to New York's Kennedy, Newark, or LaGuardia Airport, Eastern has a convenient flight going your way. Eastern, the leader in service to all the Americas.
A first win for a GTP team and its drivers at Watkins Glen, New York Sunday. Jim Roller has details.
Young American drivers John Andretti and Davy Jones survived a late race pit stop Sunday to win the Kodak Copiers 500 for International Motorsports Association sports cars in Watkins Glen, New York. Driving a factory-backed BMW Jones from nearby McGraw, New York, and Andretti, the nephew of Mario Andretti, led 85 of the race's 92 laps around the 3.37-mile Glen circuit. Then 7 laps from the end, a pit stop for fuel dropped them to third behind Porsches, driven by Texan Price Cobb, number 16, and World Endurance Champion Derek Bell, number 1. With a stunning charge that earned him the Norelco Drivers' Cup for outstanding performance, Jones repassed both Porsches just 4 laps later. Victory was assured when Cobb and Bell made pit stops in the final laps for fuel. Bell took advantage of the exchange to claim second place over Cobb. Andretti and Jones set a record pace, over 111 miles per hour, to claim their 24-second victory. The tandem's first win was worth over $60,000 thanks to a special bonus from Camel, the series sponsor. But Andretti said there was more to this one than just big money.
Well, the money's nice, but the win's nicer.
Victory in the Camel Light class for smaller prototypes went to Californian Bob Earl and Pittsburgh's Chip Ganassi in a Pontiac. Fourth place in class was enough to clinch the series title for Atlanta's Jim Downing. Reporting from Watkins Glen, New York, this is Jim Roller.
Tom Gloy crashed the 4-cylinder Ford Probe during testing Monday. He sustained a slight concussion but was released from the hospital. The Porsche factory will enter a 961, the racing version of the 959, in the IMSA finale at Daytona next month. It'll be the second time the car has raced on a circuit course. The first time it was 7th at Le Mans. The drivers will be named later. That car might compete in the GTO division next season.
Next, the voice of Dennis Ossie, winner before Saturday of only one GTO race this year, but the most recent.
Well, at this racetrack, it's a little hard to get a real good fast start because you're coming out onto that chute. You kind of got to keep the group together behind you. We don't want to screw that thing up too bad. And, Willie got the jump on me there.
Ossie went on to win his second in a row in Dan Gurney's Toyota, and Willie T. Ribbs motored on to second. Real squabble in GT overs. Manufacturer Chevy, led by Willie and Jack Baldwin, leads points, but just one over Ford and standard bearer Scott Pruitt and Bruce Jenner. Seems like every time you look up, Roger Mandeville and his Mazda are winning in GTU. Well, here's skyward. Here's number 6. Although teenager and UCLA student Tom Kendall is going to clinch points.
Ribbs, runner-up in SCCA's Trans Am points last year, may return to that series for the last 2 races this year, driving that Brooks Freibarger Camaro. The highly competitive Skip Barber Pro Saab Series also at the Glen. Californian Ken Murillo took the lead from pole and averaged a little more than 100 miles an hour in winning the 18-lap race. The series points lead now goes to second-place finisher Willie Lewis, who won St. Louis in August. Robbie Unser came from 5th starting position to take 3rd. He was also a winner earlier this year at Brainerd. In 8 races, there have been 7 winners. Only Eric Keltz has won 2. This was only Murillo's 5th event of the season. 4 more races to go. The year ends in St. Petersburg, November 16th.
When we return, Glidden is up to the test of the turbo's awesome power.
And Chandler passes the examination of 2 champs. Stay with us.
They say the best ones are the hard ones. These you don't break. You try to reach an agreement. And when you do, you head for the mountains. Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream. For a taste as smooth as its name. Push. Head for Busch beer. Head for the mountain.
When you take on the roads of Europe, you're taking on the world's toughest. And when you put on the Euro TA tire from BF Goodrich, you're putting on the tire built to take on those roads. Steering response, lightning quick. Speed rating, H. But you don't have to be over there to know how that tire handles right here in America. The BF Goodrich Euro TA, built for you to take on the road.
This liquid can help keep your engine running cool, prevent corrosion, keep it from boiling over or freezing up. What's in it? Aluguard, a premium quality antifreeze formula approved by all 4 major U.S. car makers. Aluguard, a formula you find in more than 70 brands of antifreeze, but not in Prestone. The label tells you it's car maker approved antifreeze. Antifreeze with Aluguard. Available now.
Given the opportunity, Would you travel to the stars? Be among the first of all mankind to leap into the deep, dark, silent void of space? Think about it. This October, the readers of Omni magazine will learn how they can actually win such a trip. They will enter a unique contest, the first of its kind. And the prize? An orbital tour of planet Earth aboard the spacecraft Explorer. It's real, and it's all in the October issue of Omni magazine.
Contest ends December 31st.
IHRA ended its drag racing season last weekend in Bristol, Tennessee. The alcohol funny car title has already been decided. Bunny Burkett is champ, but she loses this weekend in the quarterfinals to Dave Sebring in the Green Wizard. He makes it to the finals against Pat Austin. Pat's first race with IHRA this year is a successful one. The 21-year-old takes the win, stopping off here on his way back to Washington from the East Coast. Buddy Ingersoll has been trying to get his Buick V6 to run all year, but has had problems. But today he's up against Bob Glidden in the finals. Bob wins, but the twin-turbocharged V6 may be something for the others to think about next year. Mark Oswald is already funny car champ and padded his lead with another win here. He defeats Dominic D.A. Santucci in his Black Magic 86 T-Bird. It's his first run in IHRA this season after a full year last year.
Bob Lanier may have had the biggest feet in pro basketball, but motorcycle racing has its own big foot. Those are the two biggest feats in AMA, even though they support a stick of dynamite that's only 5'8" or so. Bubba Schobert, already champ again, and the feat he's shooting for is Joe Leonard's all-time wins on a mile. But here on the tacky Ascot half, this type of footwear is the rule. Really on his toes in qualifying was Chris Carr. He was fastest. Of course, we are here in Hollywood, right, Ricky? Well, Mr. Hollywood was the parade's first Graham Marshall, jetting from the near inside to the lead. But watch for the soul of this meet, Doug Chandler in blue, number 10. Once he got a leg up on Ricky Graham, he had waited patiently. He was a shoe-in for the win. He's finishing the season strongly. The last two national champs, Graham and Schobert, were second and third.
David Bailey, Rick Johnson, and Johnny O'Mara won their respective classes and led the U.S. to its fifth consecutive World Motocross Championship Sunday in Italy. Sweden's Stig Blomqvist and Bruno Berglund won the Hong Kong to Peking Rally in an Audi Quattro.
And speaking of Audis, Bobby Unser Sr. will drive one in the SCCA final showroom stock endurance race this weekend at Mid-Ohio. His teammate, former Olympic swimmer Steve Lundquist.
You might say Steve Kinzer had an up-and-down World of Outlaw weekend. This was the down part during qualifying. And that was just one of many flips at the Silver Dollar Speedway in Chico, California. Here's Jack Howdenshield, and taking an even more exciting ride to the infield is Brent Kading. Sammy Swindell, running as high as fourth in the ARS race in Wisconsin earlier in the day, wins two preliminaries, but is sidelined with suspension problems after this encounter. Kinzer went on to win the $12,000 Gold Cup. Other sprint car action at Williams Grove, Pennsylvania. This Johnny Mackison clip sent him to the hospital with undisclosed injuries. Doug Wolfgang squeezed by Paul Lothier on the 48th lap to give Doug his third consecutive National Open at the Grove.
Ever wonder why some race teams qualify with one engine and race with another? Well, Kenny Bernstein can answer that in this week's Bernstein File, brought to you by Budweiser.
Have you ever wondered why certain cars go faster on qualifying day than they do actually during the race? You know, people used to say they take out the qualifying motor and put in the race motor, and I didn't really understand what they meant. I didn't really think there was a difference in the two. But there is a big difference. Race day motors are made to go 500 miles, but a qualifier is like a grenade, a short fuse. It's made to only go one lap as fast as it can go. And there's a big difference in the two, not only in cost, but in the insides of each engine. For instance, in a qualifying motor, the pistons and rods and crankshaft are all lighter, maybe made out of titanium parts. And the reason is to get more RPMs, which make more horsepower and go faster. But again, you have to remember, they're short-lived grenade engines. They don't last long. I'm Kenny Bernstein.
Now here's this week's trivia question. Bob Sineker has the most. Who is next in career ASA wins? A, Dick Trickle, B, Mike Eddy, C, Mark Martin, D, Butch Miller, or E, John Anderson? Larry will have the answer in a moment.
Twisting roads, punishing trails, the open road. Each road demands a different tire to take it on. And with BF Goodrich TA radials, you've got all the different tires you need to take on those roads. The most complete line of high-performance radials in the world. The B.F. Goodrich TA line, built for you to take on the road.
This liquid can help keep your engine running cool, prevent corrosion, keep it from boiling over or freezing up. What's in it? AluGuard, a premium quality antifreeze formula approved by all 4 major U.S. car makers. AluGuard, a formula you find in more than 70 brands of antifreeze, but not in Prestone. The label tells you it's car maker approved antifreeze. Antifreeze with AluGuard. Available now.
See the championship game of the world's roughest sport, the Australian Rules Football Grand Final, live Friday night on ESPN.
Here's the answer to this week's trivia question. 4-time champ Eddie is third, 22 wins. Mark Martin, 3 season crowns, has 20. And Miller, who has won most of his wins over the last 2 years, has a total of 12. And John Anderson, killed in a highway accident this season, has only 6. But the answer is A, Dick Trickle. His 24 trails Senecers, 58.
Spills, thrills, and excitement, all part of the Budweiser Professional Hill Climb in Jefferson, Pennsylvania. The challenge is quite simple. Ride your motorcycle up this hill. But things can and sometimes do go wrong. Doyle Disbennett creates a lot of dust, but doesn't make it all the way up. Here's Steve Crowder, who executes a spin with about 8 on a scale of 10. Ralph Krieger has an interesting ride. Off the course. Hang on. Don't let go. Stay with it. Boom. Sorry. Rodney Riddle proves this type of thing can be painful and sometimes can result in some pretty serious injuries. Greg Williams can attest to that. He won, by the way, the 500cc division.
I guess it was 7 weeks ago now. I had fractured my pelvis. I fractured my scapula, broke 5 ribs, and I punctured my lungs. So getting back here and pulling off a win at a hill like this, it's a very difficult hill for me personally. It's just a super day.
The 750cc winner, Randy Gabriel, crests the hill in just 6.24 seconds.
Well, I guess things are looking up. Well, this Saturday, live modified racing from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina at 1 o'clock Eastern. Then Sunday, the Winston Cup race from the same location at 1 p.m. I'm Larry Newber.
And I'm Bob Jenkins. At 4 o'clock Sunday, same-day delayed coverage of the IndyCar race from Michigan International Speedway. All this and more next week on Speedweek.
Speedweek has been brought to you by B.F. Goodrich TA Radials, built for you to take on the road.
Nobody has lower fares than United to more cities across this land. North to south, east to west, only United has low fares to all 50 states.
You're not just flying, you're flying friendly skies.
This SportsCenter update is being brought to you by Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. Mobil 1 protects your engine better than any conventional motor oil.
Hi, everybody. Alan Massengale from the Sports Center, and it was an incredible performance today by the Houston Astros' Mike Scott. The Astros' magic number was 1 coming into today against the Giants, and it was a magic performance by Mike Scott. Top of the ninth, and he is working on a no-hitter. He gets Dan Gladden there for out number 1. He feels it. He knows what's going on. Then Scott striking out Rob Thompson right there. Strikeout number 13 on the day, 299 on the year. The crowd now sensing it. They're in a frenzy, and up stepped Will Clark. Here's what happened.
2-0. Scott has not given up a hit. Will Clark. There it is.
The Astros win the West. What a storybook ending to their drive for a pennant. Mike Scott goes out and wins it 2-0 today. And we'll be back with more scores on the afternoon right after this.
Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. No matter what you drive, or how you drive, or where you drive, or what conditions you drive under. With Mobil synthetic oil technology, there's no finer engine protection anywhere. Mobil 1, on the leading edge of mobile motor oils.